Hi and welcome to another edition of Top Tips Tuesday. This week we've got the top 4 tips how to offset the higher interest rates. So tip number 1 is look if you can have an interest only loan. So generally the lenders will give you a choice of principal and interest or interest only. And of course with investment property the interest portion is a tax deduction, the principal generally isn't. So to minimise your outgoings you can change that loan if it's P&I to interest only. And just remember you can always increase those monthly payments. So just because you take it out as an interest only loan doesn't mean you can't increase the payments to pay it off in a shorter period over the longer term. So it just helps your cash flow initially till you get the property up and running, and then eventually over the years as the rental income increases and you've got more surplus income, then you can always change back to P&I. Tip number 2 is use a larger deposit. So generally the banks will lend you up to 90%, so we need a 10% plus purchase costs. But if you put in a larger deposit, that reduces the size of the loan, reduces the monthly outgoings, helps your cash flow. So putting in a bigger deposit can help the cash flow as well. Tip number 3 is negotiate with the lender. What we are finding now is the banks are pretty competitive and it's definitely worth shopping around. If you've already got an existing loan for an existing investment property, the first thing I'd recommend is you contact your lender that you've got the loan with. Do some research before, see what other banks are offering in the same comparable terms. I know the banking world is very confusing, there's a lot of different rates being quoted, but see if you can find a comparable rate, and then when you ring up your lender, you're already armed with that information and ask for a reduced rate. No, it doesn't cost you anything to ask for it, and the banks are generally willing to happy to keep you as an existing client, but rather than lose you. Definitely it's worth a tip whether it's your own home or your investment properties. Tip number 4 is invest in a higher rental income type property. So these are giving these higher yields and you can get much more rental income coming in than you've got expenses going out. It's going to really help your cash flow. People are all looking now, investors are really focused on this positively cash flow properties with these interest rates around that 6%-ish. It's obviously generally harder to find a traditional home or a traditional apartment is not going to give you those high yields. So there's certainly a lot of products being created to help those higher income type properties. I hope that's helped with your goals of how to offset those higher interest rates, and look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Thanks.